Good morning. I am a little bit late to my analysis this morning for no particular reason. I would have liked to have already done this analysis so I could be ready and watching the charts now and getting a feel for them. But this morning I've been just doing a few things. Like I cropped this video for the live stream, and yeah, maybe just moving a little bit slow. I'm going to go through and remove all the drawing objects. I just realized I hadn't done that, and sometimes it'll really slow down the charts and they'll start to look all like choppy whenever I move around, whenever they're not cleared. But on the ES, it looks to me like there is some kind of uptrend that could be like this, or it could be like that as well. I'm going to go with the second one. I feel like that fits a little bit better, so I'm going to stick with that. And let's check out the incur. Looks like it has a similar uptrend going on, but I am going to start it off with this one here. This one might actually have a break. I mean, it could be a break there, but it also could not be. So I want to keep that in mind. And let's get this downtrend here. Started off the true highs. That gets close outside new high. Okay. Close outside new high. Two legs down. Looks to me like there might be some sort of wider downtrend here. I think we're headed towards these lows. Then let's mark up those highs as well. So the highs could be there, or they could be up here. So I'm going to put both of those on there. Looks like we're headed towards the lows though, so looking for shorts there, longs on the ES, possible longs on the NQ. Like I said, I'm unsure about this downtrend though. Let's check out the RTY. Looks like a range. So you get an uptrend. There's a close outside, 2 attempts at a new high. It fails. Leg down, break, new low, and now you're just kind of moving sideways. Yep, I like that read. On the ES, I want to note the possible resistance up here at the overnight highs. There's definitely the support down here on the lows. Looks like you have a slight, God. Looks like you have a slight trend coming up here for the retest. On the NQ, want to note those same levels. I believe that is the overnight. Got them on there, got them on there. So I'm going to go over and mark everything up on my second monitor as well. Need to clear everything on there. Maybe I'll add that one back on the screen. I don't know. It was kind of nice to be able to see what I was doing on the other side as well, at least a little bit, but it was so small that I was like hardly getting anything out of it, I felt. I'm questioning on the ES whether this uptrend is right, because it definitely could be off of here. And if you do draw it off of there, the thing is, like this, the low that I have it drawn off of isn't the actual swing low. Like this trend is off of a slightly higher low than this one, which is kind of odd. Not sure about that. I have both of them marked up on my second monitor, so that way I can keep an eye on which one might be correct in the end. All right, a few minutes from the open here, and we're getting pretty close to a setup on CL. You have a double bottom and what looks like a first entry, possibility for a second entry. I don't know if that's a closeout side yet of this short-term uptrend. So if we take this off the lows here, it looks like it's probably not a closeout side. And another thing to note about this one is if you draw this downtrend a little bit tighter, it's possible it already has a closeout side and new low. So this uptrend or this downtrend, where it is a little bit uncertain. So that's two things to note there. I don't know if I'd want to push this short-term trend. Also does look like it could be a triple test though. Might consider a lower high. There's a possibility that we get a second leg down. So might look for something like that. Definitely finding resistance up on these overnight highs for the ES. There's a few possibilities for these trends, so there's kind of three that I'm working through. There's, you know, this one right here. There's the one that's on there, and then there's possibly an even steeper one that already has a break. So there's three possible ones, and right now I can't tell which one's going to fit the best. This one is the one that I like the most so far, but depending on how prices play out, I might end up changing that. Okay, so there's the second entry short on CL. This short-term uptrend definitely looks valid to me, so I don't want to take that right now. I'm going to wait for some sort of lower high or something of that sort. I just don't want to risk that prices could close outside and attempt the new high for that short-term uptrend. Okay, I am going to prepare for
order submitted.
Possible lower high here. It's looking pretty congestive. You have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 stacked bars, and this bar is looking like more of the same. I'd be a little scared if this bar doesn't end bearish that I'd be taking it right at the lows of this congestive area, which I don't love there. Not seeing a ton of strength on this bar anyway. I think even if this closes bearish, I think I'm gonna have to skip it. Just because, like I was saying with this slight congestive area, I think it's a little bit too risky to take it right into those lows there. So, yeah. There's still a possible setup though, so I need to continue watching, but also trying to get an idea of what's going on the other charts as well. Looks like on the ES, prices might have sort of held off this trend line and have broken it. Either that or there's already something like the NQ where it's already got to close outside in a retest. We are moving down here on CL.
Order canceled.
There's no entry now. On the RTY, kind of looks like you have two legs down to the support area. So depending on how this reacts, there could be something there. Not that I would want to take it, but obviously this isn't holding as of right now. On the ES, the larger trend, so if you draw this one here, looks like it might actually be holding here, but would have had a slight close outside, so I'm not sure about that. Gonna leave this one for now. There's a second entry short there, but not that I'd be interested in. I can see why maybe it could be decent because of this sort of correction trend right here. Coming off these highs, if this ends up being a range, then chances are that will have been a good trade. But with this uptrend and that uncertainty around our prices are going to retest the highs, or are they still within some sort of uptrend? I don't think they are, but I think they might retest these highs. I don't think I can take that one. NQ has a similar trade there with that second entry short coming off this resistance area. But again, given the uptrend, this uptrend does look like it has a close outside and attempt at a new high, and then you get that second entry, so that could be something to consider there that I wasn't really thinking about. RTY is moving down really strongly. There's clearly some kind of downtrend going down here. Not really seeing anything I'm interested in. There could be a setup on the RTY to go short because of how strong this downtrend has been. It's the only thing that I'm seeing right now. On the ES, I didn't really point this out, but there's some support along this area. Could come into play. Really, I thought it was up here, but prices are kind of holding it down here as well, so let's see if that ends up holding. RTY appears to have a close outside. I would say most likely. Close outside a new low already. Still a really strong down move though, so there's a possibility that that continues. The ES continuing down. So, like I said, I'm thinking prices might retest this high of this uptrend, but it's possible it's just something like this, and prices have already retested the highs. Take a look at that real quick. It doesn't really look any more correct to me though. So I'm going to stick with what I had. NQ is really moving sideways a lot. Clearly finding some support here. What might be some sort of range, like a range with the highs up here. Could be correct. But right now I'm just going to keep the support. RTY continuing to move down for more convincing close outside a new low. And the CL is coming close to this support level, really finding some buying. There's this double bottom, finding some buying there, really congesting a lot. Also just getting close to this support level as well. So I'm sort of hesitant to take any shorts, especially because prices, after touching off this trend line, are struggling to reach the channel line. Now the NQ is moving up. Let's see if this resistance holds. Just looking at some possible other trends. I don't think that's right though. I think this is probably the right one. So we still haven't made a break a new high for that uptrend. I'm really running into some resistance here. That would create a second entry short coming off this resistance level, but it's just not really something that I'm really interested in. Just doesn't look like a great setup to me. If I were to take something like that, I would prefer to see a super strong move through the EMA. Of course, as I'm saying that, it's moving down super strongly, so I'm in a market to look at later. But I definitely wasn't really interested in that one. With how the ES is playing out, I am going to switch this trend. I'm going to switch it so the uptrend already has a break. I don't need to extend that. Don't really know why I did that. So the uptrend already has a break. An attempt at a new high. Now we're moving down. Possibility for some kind of downtrend, but so far not seeing that. This is clearly a small range type of area, and I'm actually going to draw the larger range. Because it seems like the midline is kind of holding there. Seeing that this kind of looks like a move down, a two-legged correction, and then a second move down. Getting a super strong move up on CL. Like, kind of ridiculously strong. Definitely gonna hang up looking for shorts. So this downtrend has this big break. Looks like this is an attempt at a new low. It doesn't create it. Doesn't even get down to the support, really. And you get this failed breakout of its little range right there. It pushes prices higher. So that's interesting. Prices might come back to test this range. And we might even test the lows, but it's a really strong uptrend. So I'm not looking for any kinds of shorts until this dissipates. And even then I might be done looking for shorts altogether because you're playing a retest trend. And again, this is just a really strong move up. So I would be more inclined to take a long here, looking for the break and new high of this short-term uptrend. You know, on the ES, it's still possible that initial uptrend that I had drawn is correct. And this could just be 2 legs back. Now we might be retesting those highs. On the NQ, you've already hit that. Already hit those highs. So I was probably right to be a little bit hesitant to take shorts here. Now that we are moving up towards this breaking new high that I was thinking that we might. I say that because it makes me feel a little bit better for not taking this. I do think it's true, but also I think it makes me feel better. So the RTY had a break a new low for the downtrend. It's very convincing now. Now you're moving up. I think it's possible that it could be this uptrend, but there's definitely some kind of spike as well, or like a shorter term one. So we'll have to see if this larger one comes into play. But I'm looking for longs on this one. This chart basically for sure. The overnight lows haven't really come into play at all. There's a possibility that this becomes a range. Do you want to see where would the midline be? It'd be about right there. So anyway, possibility this becomes a range. It's looking like it so far. Really moving up strongly on all the charts. So that yes, short-term uptrend. Now as a close outside, moving towards a new high. Let's see if the measured move would take you up to the, not quite to that break a new high, but it gets you pretty close. There's the possibility that this is a larger trend as well. Possible. In Q, I'll draw that same one. You have the close outside and new high, so everything's played out to the upside to me. possible that's not really a break and it's really just something like this though. As I mentioned, it doesn't really matter where it breaks. The fact of the matter is either one of them would have a break in new high at this point though. So now I'm looking for a possible strong move down and opportunity to go short, fading the overnight highs after the uptrend is played out. The ES, this uptrend is not looking correct. Look at the short-term uptrend had a break in new high. So again, if we do get a strong move down, then I might be willing to take some shorts. On the RTY, I'm actually going to come over here and change the trends around a little bit. I realized that you can just have this one pulled in pretty tight, and it still fits well. Short-term uptrend here might have a close outside a new high, but it's still a pretty strong up move. So if we got a nice two like a pullback, I'll probably be interested in that. Checking out the incur real quick. It does look like you almost have a second entry long here coming back and holding the old resistance as support. The reason that I'm not interested in that is because this uptrend already has a closeout side and new high, so you're playing a retest trend. And ultimately I am thinking that prices will probably come back within the overnight highs. So I'm not interested in that one. On the ES, short-term uptrend has a closeout side and new high. Now you're just moving sideways in this congestive area. CL, the short-term uptrend, like I said, might or might not have a closeout side and new high. I'm going to say it doesn't yet. This is a attempt though. So closeout side and attempt at a new high. This is all one top to me, but if we get a two-legged pullback, then I might be looking to take that to go long. On the RTY, I definitely like how this uptrend looks. And I'm thinking that, again, if you get some sort of two-legged pullback, I'll be interested in taking a long, most likely, depending on how it sets up. You did get a failed second entry on NQ. So first entry, second entry long. If I took engulfing bars, then that would probably be a good place to take an engulfing trade to go lower. As I said, expecting prices to come back within. I could see that being a decent one. I don't really want to take this big bearish bar, though I am considering dropping a limit order back where the engulfing would have triggered. And that could be something. I'm not going to do that, but I think that could be a decent trade to take back here. But at this point, I think we've already reached the one-to-one target, so nothing for me to do there. I'm not even going to draw that retest trend. I clearly see that. RTY has this one leg back, potential for a second entry long still. On NQ, I would consider a second entry short. You're still making higher highs and higher lows for the most part. You still haven't made like a major lower low. So, you know, you could have something like that, but for right now, it doesn't look valid to me. And on the ES, I definitely don't see anything similar. On the ES, it looks like this uptrend has a two-legged break, short-term uptrend break, new high, congestion, has a failed breakout, and seeing where we're going from there. Really moving up on RTY. Looks like we're going to hit that close outside a new high for the uptrend, which means I won't be looking for any more longs there. And the ES is really moving up in a way that I was not particularly expecting. So I thought that after this uptrend had a close outside a new high, was probably it. And prices were probably going to trade down. The NQ even popped above the EMA there. So might have been switching gears to go short a little bit too early. As I mentioned on the NQ, we're continuously making these higher lows and the higher highs as well. On CL, the question is this one leg back here, or is this the start of the first leg back? So this could be like a double top, 1, 2 legs back, even though it is basically it's a perfect triple test. So this could be one high, and this could be the first leg back, or this could be the first leg back here, and this creates the second entry. Not sure about that. Moving down pretty strongly. Looks like you're almost getting the, well, you're getting the possibility for a second entry short on NQ. So you can see here, this would make a first entry, possible second entry, but more than anything, prices are looking really sideways. So it doesn't seem super convincing to me of a short. Either way, the signal bar is not valid for me. And the ES also has that potential with the low here in the first entry, second entry, creating a double top, kind of coming off this resistance level. But for the most part, you're kind of chopping sideways. And again, you're still making higher lows and higher highs. I'd rather wait on something a little bit more certain than either one of those. It does look like we might get some follow through momentum there. Again, I'm going to mark it just as something to study later. It wasn't something that I was particularly interested in currently. You are finding some follow through down movement on this chart as well, which is the NQ. CL, you didn't even get a signal bar here, so I didn't really have a chance to look at it, or I didn't really have a chance to enter anyway. But it's still possible that it is 1, 2 legs back instead of just this one. I was going to see if they're measured, but they start in the same place, so obviously they're not measured. Looks like we do have a close outside new high for this uptrend now, so I'm not really looking for any more longs on CL for the time being. You have this uptrend, congestive area, fail breakout, moves to a new high. Makes perfect sense there. You do just get one leg of correction here before prices are continuing to move higher. And that kind of feels like it could be the possibility of a trend like this, but the thing about this one is you're not taking off. It's like you would, if this was correct, you would expect prices to sort of take off here, but instead they're sort of congesting and moving sideways. So that, makes me feel like it might not be correct, but I'm going to put it there just in case this does end up holding. Okay, so we're finding continued down movement on both the NQ and the ES. Yeah. I briefly thought about maybe this lower high, but at this point then you're coming down into this support area and, it just feels like it's not the best place to take a lower high, really. I guess that's really about it. It's just not a great place. Here. Possibility of a wider downtrend coming down. Want to look at that just in case. Price is finding support off the same level on NQ. So here we are, finding support there. And again, I'm uncertain about this downtrend. It could just be tighter. I already have a closeout side, like I had it before, kind of just like this. But for now, I want to see if this holds, so I'm just going to keep an eye on it. Let's see what happens. This would create a second entry short on the NQ. Definitely a tempting one. I know I don't want to push through the support area though. Unless you drop a limit order back, can't really take that without pushing into that support area. With the two conflicting levels, I think there's just better trades out there, and it looks like the signal bar is just going to get too big for me to really consider anyway. But with the conflicting support and the possibility of this downtrend being incorrect, even if it does end bearish, I'm not going to drop a limit order back there. Ultimately, I think that we are probably going to head lower, but I don't really want to push through there. Like I said, this has moved too far. You're ending exactly at this support. So let's see. Right now, this looks like a break in two legs to a new high. There's, of course, well, I was going to say there's the possibility of that there, but not really. It doesn't look right. The RTY, this uptrend is obviously not correct. Looks like you just found some resistance up at this level. So uptrend, break, finding some resistance at this level. Does hit the break new high though. So we reached the break new high. But overall, it's sort of just congestive. So we did continue moving down on NQ. I thought we would probably move down here, But again, I just didn't think it was worth the risk to push through this support level, which has obviously been holding. I stand by that. The only trade right now that I think that maybe I should have taken would be this one on the ES as a pretty much a perfect 2 legs back for that second entry short. So maybe I should have put some more weight behind this one. The reason that I wasn't really looking for it is mainly because of this uptrend here. And I was thinking the prices were going to move towards a break new high of that. But if I had seen this downtrend and like kind of noticed that, if I had seen this downtrend, then maybe I would have been looking for this break a new low. The NQ though, now that it's sort of continuing to move downwards, there's still the potential for some sort of short, maybe a second entry short or something like that. On the ES, it looks like we might be forming a similar downtrend to the one on the NQ, starting here. So looking for shorts on both the ES and the NQ. On CL, it looks to me like we're moving towards a second measured leg up. In fact, we might have already reached it. Looks like we did reach that. Let's see if we'll continue higher here. In RTY, we've, of course, had this uptrend play out with a break in new high, run into this resistance here. So not really expecting anything as of right now. Ultimately, I do think prices will probably attempt this high, and I think that's what this was, an attempt at the high. So we'll see after a correction if prices are able to make another attempt up there. And on the ES, feels like I need to expand this out a little bit. On the NQ, you might just have an overshoot. If you do expand it out, then it's possible to say that maybe it's not an overshoot. But if prices continue to move down, then it's going to be hard to make that argument. Like that. Looks like they're just going to go ahead and head down to these lows. Let's say we do come down to these lows and we get a higher low. I might be willing to take that. Overshoot combined with support level, far from the EMA, maybe a higher low. Would be a little bit more aggressive, but it's one of those areas where I feel like I understand what's going on. That's more important than anything, in my opinion. Quite a strong downtrend there. It doesn't look exhaustive. Look on the way down. I was expecting like the bottom just to fall out of this, but this is a pretty orderly sell-off on the way down. And if we look at the ES, I believe it has also gotten an overshoot. If we do put the midline where it fits there, maybe you can say it hasn't, but that's a big question mark. If we put the midline, there's a couple places where it could fit. Well, the midline fits really well right there. That's kind of where I initially had it. Second place the midline fits is probably about there. You can see the midline playing throughout here. So it's the possibility that it's not an overshoot, but chances are I'm not going to look for any shorts as we've come off these overnight lows. I'm not going to look for this long that I was thinking about because we didn't show that exhaustive action towards the end. Instead, we just continued to sort of move down. Oops. I would maybe consider a short on RTY. We might be building out some sort of range. As you can see, we've made a double bottom here, and we do have some choppy congestive action. So might be building some sort of range out. But if we continue downwards here, then I might consider some sort of short. Oops, I'm sure that was loud, so sorry to whoever's watching. And sorry to myself later whenever I watch this. I'm always scared that I'm like have left my mic muted. So I did that once. NQ is moving down super strongly. I mean, the ES is too, but the NQ looks stronger. Looks like you might have some sort of secondary spike in channel coming down there. It's tough to really extend this out anymore. I mean, the only place you could go is maybe say that's the midline. But yeah, not much I can do there. Yes, still could be correct there. I forgot that I can switch between tabs by pressing Control Tab. It's kind of nice. Oh, this is the historical chart. This is one that I used to just kind of study a bit. Switch over to incur. Where's the possibility that maybe the downtrend is here? Clearly, you've broken outside of the overnight lows, and I would think that prices would probably come back and test these. This has been a pretty strong short-term downtrend here. So if you do get like kind of a perfect 2 legs up, you know, I might still be willing to take that, even though there's 2 things kind of against the trade. 2 things being the fact that we might be bouncing off a channel line for the downtrend, and I'm expecting prices ultimately to come back and retest the overnight low support area. So in such a strong downtrend, that it could be acceptable to take a short anyway if it's a really good setup. It has to be a really, really good setup. Getting a strong leg up. Continuing to correct up here. I would say the chances of taking a short are probably pretty low. Gonna have to see prices play out quite a bit. This is a second entry short off a possible trend line on the ES, but to me it looks like the short-term uptrend is still in play, so I'm not taking that. Possible spike in channel on CL. Prices are continuing up quite a bit after the close outside new high, so it makes me think there's a secondary channel possibly working up. Let's look at the measured move up here. Though you can see prices did find some selling off the close outside and 2 legs to new high, found some selling here. They found some traction still before even hitting the EMA, making me think that there is probably some sort of secondary structure like this spike in channel working up. Looks like I made the right decision to skip this trade on the ES. It actually didn't feel like much of a decision. You know, usually I would be like really mulling over this one, thinking about it, but it was just kind of clear as day that this short-term uptrend is working up here. So I think that can't really take that. I suppose you do have a second entry short on the NQ as well, but same thing, this short-term uptrend is still in play. And as I mentioned, it's not the greatest place to take a short because you might be coming off a channel line or an overshoot of the downtrend. And also I'm expecting prices to come back and test this level, possibly come back within the overnight lows. See how we're testing the overnight highs, which again could be here or could be here. Could be either one of these. Just have to kind of wait and see which one holds if either does. I would still consider a long here, even though we're coming off this resistance level. This has been really strong to the upside, and I think that the spike in channel is correct. One thing to note, prices did not come off the channel line, so I'm not going to put a whole bunch of weight in taking a trade off this trend line. But if it does break and there's a nice, second entry long or something, then maybe I'll consider that. It's really cold in my house right now, and I'm considering going downstairs and putting on some socks because my toes are so cold. It's been like 70s or 80s recently, and then out of nowhere, the temperature dropped to I think it's like 45 outside right now, which is not that incredibly cold, but it's like such a big difference, and it's a big sort of shock there. I know it's going to get warmer in the next couple days again, so it's just kind of this little cold front coming through, I guess. Now it does look like we've had a close outside of the trend line on ES. So whether that's correct or not, I don't exactly know. I'd say maybe if you pull it in tight, pull this in too, then Maybe you can get something where the midline kind of fits throughout here and fits throughout there too. But now it's clearly broken. The short-term uptrend does have a close outside and new high as well. But this isn't looking extremely tempting to take a short. It's very congestive, so nothing I really want there. Looks like this uptrend has a close outside, new high, creates this range, fill breakout, 2 legs down, short-term downtrend break, new low, and this now short-term uptrend. So it looks like we're, as I mentioned earlier, looks like we're going to attempt these highs again. So we got the completed correction. Price is sort of stalled for a bit, like got their momentum or got their feet back under them, and now we're getting another attempt at these highs. Whether we'll reach it or not, I don't know. The NQ, here's a very interesting trade setting up. You have 2 larger legs up to the trend line. And if this is a bearish bar, then I think that's probably worth the risk. With the failed breakout of the congestive area, the pullback to the previous support that might hold as resistance, and the fact that it looks like 2 larger legs. So let's see if we can get in there. Looks like I probably hesitated a bit. I think it might have broken lower earlier. I'm not going to chase it though. If it comes back to get me, great. It looks like it did. I always struggle to get the orders in the right place on the NQ. There's like just so many ticks, you know. So I might get an instant stop out here, basically. And I think it's just going to go ahead and stop me out.
Stop filled.
Yep, so we did get stopped out there. What I was seeing here was, like I said, the 2 larger legs up to what looked like this trend line. Prices had come back and tested this old support area. Looked to be holding it as resistance. And it was a breakout of this congestive area. So quite a few things that I saw there. It's possible that this is just an overshoot, but not sure. Yeah, I'm not really sure what went wrong there. We've now hit the measured move up. Gonna kind of have to see what happens on this one to sort of determine where I went wrong, because I don't exactly know right now. And to be honest, this didn't really shake me at all. I don't know, I felt like it was a good trade. And if I feel like it was a good trade and I took it, then, you know, in my mind, then I did the right thing. Now that I'm looking at this one, it kind of looks like this was 2 legs up. It's like if you look at it this way, uptrend, break, first leg, kind of, you know, if you start it where the second leg actually starts, it's almost a perfect 2 legs up. Thinking there's a possible short on the ES, maybe, possibly setting up. Uptrend, congestion, breaks that, you get the break in new high. You might even consider this as a second entry short with this, you know, all this low congestive action, first entry, second entry. But I might consider a lower high here, maybe. And on CL, there's the potential for a long. As I mentioned, we have come off of this possible overnight high. Again, the overnight high might be here, truly. But it does look like a short-term downtrend that has a close outside and getting a move to a new low. We have some congestive action here, but if we continued to move lower and got a nice bullish bar, then I might take that as 2 legs back. So on the NQ, we are looking like we might now move down. On the ES, we did get kind of a strong move down there, so let's look for a lower high. And there is the possibility for a lower high. Looks like you went down here. We have the move up, ticks higher. Not really looking for any kind of lower high anymore on ES. We came back and sort of held the EMA there, so I don't like that. Still might consider a long on CL as kind of 2 legs back, but are finding some downward momentum now. On that bar, you could clearly see some downward momentum.
Submitted.
But let's see if we do get a nice bullish bar. This looks like 2 legs back. I like how that spike in channel looks. The one question mark, as I mentioned, is the overnight highs up there. The fact that we've sort of touched off those. But with this being 2 legs back and a break of that spike in channel, I think that there's a good reason to take this if we do get a nice bullish bar. This bar doesn't have a whole lot of momentum. It had some buying momentum and it sort of petered off. Now it's feeling more like a range bar than anything, but keeping an eye on it in case in the last few ticks here it sort of moves up. Yeah, with that signal bar, I just can't take that.
Order canceled.
getting the continued downward movement on the ES and the NQ. So I do think my read was right for the most part, but my timing must have been wrong on the NQ. On the NQ, I believe you've moved almost to this break in your low. You're getting real close. So, yeah, I'm not sure what could have kept me out of this one. Looks like I was so close. Yeah, I don't know. Have to study that one later. Getting close to this low. Looks like on CL, I was saved by the signal bar. So the fact there wasn't a good signal bar there kept me out of a trade that would have failed. A possible range forming, possible smaller range on CL. So I was sort of talking about that earlier. Looks like we might be getting something like that. The reason I think that is because you have one leg up here that turns down off of something. Prices are moving like a roller coaster along the EMA. So let's see if the support's able to hold. One possibility on NQ is maybe this trend is wrong and it's actually just wider like this. And that's definitely a possibility. Not sure. Maybe. If it is, then maybe you could say this is the two larger legs up, say congestive low, and you have a first entry, second entry there. So lots of possible entries on the NQ. appears that resistance is coming into play there. Possible slightly wider downtrend working down. Kind of looks like two larger legs up if you look at it like this. I mean, that's like almost perfect. Don't really know about the this downtrend here. This one's I don't like that one as much, but could be right. I definitely don't want to play that or anything. Nothing to really play there. On the RTY, it looks to me like this uptrend has a close outside new high, downtrend break new low, and this is the attempt at reestablishing the uptrend, and it fails. It does make a new high, don't get me wrong, but I think this is the attempt to continue higher, turns down without even getting a break a new high. So I might be looking for some shorts. Looks like this downtrend is about to play out. If this plays out, comes off this support level, and you get some sort of higher low or a failed second entry, that could be an entry on the ES to take. The NQ, I'm trying to see if this larger downtrend is right, or if it's like I initially had it. I initially had it like this. But I'm trying to see if maybe something wider could be correct. So, waiting to find out there. There's of course the possibility of a short on the incur again, but I don't know if this trend is wider or not. It might already just have a close outside a new low. So it could just be like this, like I initially had it drawn. And in fact, I'm going to play it like that for two reasons. First off, I think it looks better. Second off, the ES clearly has a close outside and a new low. So I'm going to play it like this instead of wider. So I thought it might be, just might be wider. I'm unsure if this correction is played out. The short-term downtrend could have a close outside a new low if you draw it real tight. But if you draw it a little bit looser, then it could still be looking for a break a new low there. Still think prices might try and retest these highs here. So maybe this short-term downtrend or this correction trend right here, whatever it is, might get a close outside a new low or at least a couple attempts at a new low. Then I expect prices might come back and test these highs. Continuing to move down on the ES and the incur. So now this correction trend also has a break and new low. You get this congestive area. You might even be looking for a full second leg down, potentially. But now everything is played out. So all the downtrends have played out. So this downtrend has a close outside new low. This correction trend has a close outside new low. You've broken below the overnight lows that's been holding a support. So I'm really thinking more long than shorts right now, though you might make your way down to this measured move. It's kind of how I feel. Same with the NQ. This downtrend to me looks like it has two legs up with a break and new low, and then this correction trend has a break and new low of its own. So I'm thinking more longs than shorts. CL. This is quite a strong down move. Might be making two legs down. You, as I keep saying, might come up and retest this spiking channel, though this is a correction trend because this spike right here has closed outside a new high. That's what forms this channel. So these are a little bit less reliable. You also came off the overnight highs. So I might have been putting too much weight in prices testing this trend when I should have really been looking at these two larger legs up, the fact that this is a retest trend and we're coming off the highs. So might have been putting too much weight in this trend is all I'm saying there. In the RTY, there's the opportunity to take a short soon. Looks like this uptrend has a break and new high, downtrend break and new low. Trend one leg up creates this double top. Now we're moving down. So we're continuing to move down on the ES and NQ. So here's the NQ here, here's the ES. So we might be moving towards this, like I said, measured move down. But the fact that we are continuing to move down makes me think, okay, maybe the trend is wider. Maybe it's like this. So I'm going to keep an eye on that, though I'm still pretty uncertain about that one. And it looks like on the NQ that the trend is probably tighter, like I initially had it. I'm gonna wait and see how this kind of plays out, but it looks like this downtrend might just have a break in two legs to a new low of its own. And that's all that move down was. And on the ES, you basically reach this measured move. Like, I mean, you can clearly see that's 1-2 legs down. This downtrend has a break in 2 legs. So I don't think I want to take a higher low here. I think I probably want to wait on some kind of failure just because of how far this has moved. Now, if the higher low had happened like right here, could be a different story. There's no chance to enter that one though, as is. Man, today's kind of flown by. It's already 11:20 right now. It's kind of crazy. There's the potential for a failure right here on this bar. We're bumping up into this resistance right here. It's not setting up quite like I would want it to either. So I'm going to skip that even if it does set up. It doesn't set up anyway. So despite everything playing out and these two legs down on the ES, we're still struggling to go higher. I would expect a strong move up after this, but that's not what we're getting, especially given the failed breakout. I would expect a very strong move up, but that's, again, not what we're getting there. So it's interesting. Same with the incur. This, what I think is, well, I was thinking that this is probably tighter like I initially had it, but now the prices are just sort of continuing down. Maybe this is still right. I don't know. I'm still not entirely sure. Hesitant to take a short off of there, but if there's a good one, I mean, maybe I'll have to. These prices are really struggling to go higher, that's for sure. So let's see. The thing is, this downtrend already has a break in two legs to a new low, and I'm playing a downtrend that I'm sort of uncertain about. But the thing is, prices are just struggling to go higher so much. So if this is like a super bearish bar there, it could be something I'm interested in. At least going to be ready for it just in case. Not feeling that downward momentum on the signal bar, at least not as of yet. Okay, I think I am going to take that if it breaks lower. Oh, maybe not. Signal bar is pretty bearish, but not like super bearish. Definitely some uncertainties around this trade. But I think if it breaks lower, I'm probably going to take that. We are continuing to move up, so
order canceled.
Kind of got saved there. So yeah, I'll go ahead and pull in this downtrend. It looks like I was almost playing this incorrect one and got saved by the fact that it just didn't break lower, which isn't great. It just means my read was wrong there, and yeah, it's not awesome. Tempted to take some sort of higher low here as like a visual failed second entry. The NQ could have a failed second entry as well, as I do believe this downtrend has a close outside and new low, and the retest trend has a close outside and new low as well. So it seems like a decent place to start looking for some potential longs. It looks like on CL, prices are now attempting these highs. So it looks like 2 legs down. Now we're going up to attempt these highs. Possibility for a second entry long. In Q, clearly the downtrend has played out and we're getting some sort of uptrend working higher now. Same with the ES. So looking for longs on all of those, the ES, the NQ, and the RTY, or the CL. The RTY, this downtrend has now, so it clearly has a break outside and a new low early, like right here, but it's not very convincing. So then you get a more convincing close outside and new low right there. So if this continues to move up, maybe there's a long entry on the RTY too. So basically all the charts looking for some sort of long. We've hit the break and new high on CL. So again, spike and channel, 2 legs down, and we have this close outside and new high. So I'm not really looking for any more longs. That's pretty good to me. possibility for a second entry long setting up on the ES, as you have one leg back now. So possibility if we get a second leg back. Mac will probably mark this trade here. Actually, he's not here, he's on a cruise, but if he were here, then he would probably mark this one as a second entry short, counting all of this congestive area as one low, first entry, second entry. And I pointed that out a little bit after it happened, but I would just have a really hard time catching that. I think these trades are kind of risky for myself personally. Looks like we're moving towards a break and new high for the retest trend on CL. So short-term uptrend gets a close outside and headed towards the close outside and new high. I'm pretty interested in a lower high on CL. Everything's played out to the upside. We're coming off this resistance area, get a pretty strong move down in that one bar. So if we got a lower high here with a nice bearish bar and maybe a little bit of room to the EMA, I would probably be interested in taking that. And if we get a failure as well, then I might be interested in that. So just keep an eye out for that. Got about 20 more minutes, so not too bad. And I believe I'll have the opportunity to see two possible setups in that time, or three possible setups. There's this one that I might see the lower high or the failure, potentially. Of course, don't want to put too many eggs in that basket. Then I could see a second entry long on either the NQ or the ES, or both. So just keeping an eye out for those. Okay, so let's flip over to the CL, where there could be a lower high setting up. If this continues up and makes a higher high though, definitely won't be interested. And how it's setting up right now, I'm looking less interested. I was kind of hoping it'd just be like a lower high right here, a nice bearish bar. But the way this is looking is not setting up how I was envisioning it. I don't do very well with those kinds of trades, just like the way this is specifically setting up. So I'm going to wait on some kind of, well, I was going to say I'm going to wait on some kind of down movement, but here we go. We just moved up. Anyway, So I would still consider some sort of lower high or some sort of failure here. But for the most part, I'm looking for a second entry long on both the ES and the NQ. A short-term leg down to close outside on both of them, or at least on the ES, there's definitely a close outside. So looking for that second entry long on both of these charts. And for the break a new high of this trend coming back within the overnight highs and lows, which looks like a range. Looks like you might just go ahead and move up to the break in new high on the ES. Same with the NQ, but the NQ has not moved quite as far. So there's still definitely the possibility for a higher low second entry on NQ. Still looking for that break and new high. And it exists on the ES as well. We're getting to the point where we've moved pretty far. It looks like we might just go ahead and test those highs there, but we'll see how this plays out. Looks like the ES is going to move up without me. Unfortunately, no chance to enter there. Just going to go ahead and move up to the break new high. So nothing else to look for on ES, especially even though we haven't quite hit that break new high. We've pretty clearly made a double top, so can't do anything about that. Looks like the NQ is following suit. And that will probably be that for me for the day. There's only, let's see, 7 more minutes, and I don't see anything else that's particularly close to setting up, unless you do get a strong move down on CL. Like if you got a strong move down and a lower high or failure, this is the only entry that I might still sort of consider. The RTY, I don't see anything particularly interesting. In Q, again, the possibility still exists for a trade to go long, but at this point with the ES already hitting the break and new high, or at least the break and double top, chances are that's not going to happen. All right, I think that's it. So the ES has reached its close outside a new high. Just looking at a little recap of the day. I think we have this uptrend, 2 legs down, and then attempt at a new high fails, finds resistance up at the overnight highs, downtrend, kind of a 2-legged break split by some congestion, then gets a break and new low, creates basically 2 measured legs down with a correction trend, or not the correction trend, but the retest trend has a break in 2 legs, 2 new low of its own. Now you have an uptrend with a break and new high. Looks like we'll probably head towards the overnight highs. NQ is super similar as always. The uptrend has a close outside, and it looks like 1, 2 legs, 2 new high, breaks out of the overnight highs just a little bit, and you get this downtrend here broken with 2 legs, and then you get this retest trend that has a downtrend with a break and 2 legs, 2 new low of its own, split by a congestive area. I of course took this trade here, which was incorrect. I'm still not entirely sure why this one failed, so I'm going to have to go back and study this, but it's clear that this trade was actually the one to take, which is the second entry short, counting off these lows as a congestive area, first entry, second entry. Now you have an uptrend with a break and new high. Looks like, again, prices are probably going to work up towards the overnight highs now. CL, you have a downtrend that gets broken, and it looks like an attempt at the new lows that fails, and you get a second leg up here, which I don't think is super important, but you do get a 2-legged correction and a break and new high for this spike in channel. I don't really see any trades that I'd be interested in on the CL, and that was a super quick little overview there. And then RTY started out in sort of a range action. You get a downtrend with a break and new low, uptrend, break, 2 legs, 2 new high, 2 legs down, 1 leg up, finds resistance at the double top, and then you get a stronger downtrend, break a new low, congestive area. You've now broken out of that, expecting prices will probably pull back to test this range, the old resistance. Might hold that as support. Not exactly sure where the prices are going on RTY. But that's it for me. So I'll check the chat here. Looks like we have one chat. Velzo Harrison says hi. Hello, Velzo. I don't know if you're here, but I am about to hop off. So I'll be trading, I think basically this whole week, except for Friday. So I'll be trading tomorrow. Yeah, I won't be able to trade Friday because I'll be out of town. And then the week after that, I don't think I'll be trading at all, unfortunately. So I'll be out of town. But anyway, I'll see you guys tomorrow.